Hello, I'm Anthony. This is Bad Idea Metals, and we're inside the greenhouse again. We still have snow. In fact, we got snow in the forecast for the next few days, throughout the week, I guess. But it's nice and warm in here. You've seen the last few videos. It's all been in this nice climate-controlled greenhouse that we finished building last month, maybe. Anyway, so I really love working in this greenhouse because it's 72 degrees right now, and the outside temperature is about 25 with snow. So it's nice. Got my coat hanging up over here. There's a few videos that I'm really dying to get to, and the snow is getting in my way. I really don't want to fire up my forge. It's not very efficient. So today I have an unboxing video that I'd like to show you. Let me present the problem first and my solution. Next to me here, I've got, I got some snow. Next to me here, I've got these transformers. They come out of different various electronics. You typically will see them on anything that takes power off the wall and it's not the voltage that you need. This will down convert it from, in the United States, we've got 120 volt, 110, 120 volt AC that comes off the wall. And these will take the 120 and change it to whatever you need. Some can up convert to 240. Some can down convert to 5 volt or 3 volt or whatever you need it to be. So you've got all these different transformers. They've got the inputs and they've got their outputs, and they're always encased in an iron frame. That's the magic of how a transformer works. It's the two different sets of windings. The current comes in, induces a current on a different set of coils that it's not touching, not directly. Problem is, these iron and steel frames, they're either glued together or sometimes well, there's all sorts of different ways that they're put together. And I'm tired of my little grinder trying to get through the big ones. This one, my little grinder can do pretty easy. You shear it off, great. This big one though, I can tell you right now, my 4.5 inch grinder, it's not gonna do it very easily. I'd get to a point and I have to change directions and come at it from all sorts of different angles, and by the time I have sent sparks everywhere, it's taken forever. So, I bought something that I would like to show you today, which I bought to try to solve that problem. So I have purchased this Dewalt 14-inch grinding cutoff. It's like a miter saw, it's like a chop saw. They call it a chop saw, but it's like your standard saw that you'll do 2x4s with. Except this has a grinding wheel. Let's go ahead and open this up. I still haven't even opened it up. I bought this a week ago, and I've been trying to find the time to record this video. So it's been in the box waiting for today. And I want to show you what I've got. I'm so excited. I hope this really solves that problem with the transformers, especially the large ones. So let's get this open. I guess pretty standard packaging. I mean, a little bit of paint seems to have transferred, as this must have been at the bottom of a stack somewhere, but that's not the fault of the manufacturer. That would probably be the fault of the place I bought it. But it's missing some paint off the top. Again, not the fault of the manufacturer. Maybe they use cheap paint, I don't know. But I'm not gonna blame that on the location I bought it at. Huh. Anyway, all right, let's get on. It's a hefty unit. I'll have to remind myself how much this weighs in just a second. Set of instructions. And that's all that was in the box. Set of instructions, some packing, and then the unit itself. Now, I have a leak in the roof right around here, so I don't want it raining on my new tool here. So we're going to move it out from underneath the drip. Or at least I think the drip was right here. Okay, so get more of this stuff out of the way. Oh, it is a hefty unit. How much do you weigh? Total weight, 39 pounds or 17.6 kilograms. So, as far as tools go, it's not a handheld tool, that's for sure. So this, here's the key features of why I bought this one. And I know most of them have these features, but, whoa, take that. I trust Dewalt tools. I like them a lot. I'm not completely sold on all of their tools. I do like this brand generally. You'll see that a lot of my battery powered ones, they're Dewalts. Most of that is because once you have one Dewalt battery, you might as well keep buying their tools so that way you could keep reusing their batteries. But I do like their quality and how comfortable they are to use. So let's get into why I bought this one. Okay, so it's a 14-inch wheel. Let's go ahead and lift up the gate here. Okay, so it's a 14-inch wheel, and this is the grinding disc. I don't know if any disc can fit on here, but if it's like a standard 4.5-inch grinder or a 6-inch grinder, then these are probably pretty universal. The fittings, you'll be able to buy it from wherever and stick it on. But I don't know. But it's a pretty standard size wheel, 14-inch wheel. And one thing that I really am hoping for is that this will fit on here. That was item number 2. I needed to make sure that the clearance was high enough for me to get those large transformers onto the bed right here and be able to cut them off. So another thing I bought this for, it has this securing mount right here where you can secure your subject against the fence. This fence does angle, and I'll get into that. Nope, I just got dripped on. I'll have to fix that. So the two things right here that I wanted to show off, it has a fence that you can angle, but this fence also moves forward, which was important to me because these bigger transformers may not fit underneath the grinding wheel at its closest point to the fence where it's sitting right now. I wanted to make sure it could come out where the wheel would have a chance to come down on the iron and be able to cut it away there. So I wanted to make sure that the fence could move forward. And one thing that I've noticed that many of these have, but I really appreciate, is this quick setting, this quick slide setting. You could rotate this threaded shaft here, and it'll squeeze your subject up against the fence. But if you flip up this, I don't even know what you call it, this lock, it's an easy motion. It boggles my mind how this is so effective. But you flip it up, and you can adjust the rod. So then I can move my fence to where I need it to be, and now it's further away from the fulcrum right here, from this pinch point, which is already pretty low. And if I put a transformer that's too tall, that wasn't going to work. So I really like that. You can angle it if you need to. Zeroing out, that was one of the things that other people have complained about. When you try to zero your angle here, there isn't really a guide for how to do that really well. There isn't a line. So what some people have said is you just get a square level, or just a square straight edge, and you square it with the base. And then your lock in place here, this will match whatever angle your sled is at if you squeeze them together. So once you've got the sled where you want it, lock it in place, and that's not going anywhere. So let's just, for fun, let's lock one of these in. And now I can practically lift up the whole tool from the subject which I've locked in place. Like I said, it boggles my mind how this slide works, but it works. And that subject is not going anywhere. So let's go ahead and free this up. Take our subject out. Okay, so that was one of the big things I wanted, and I got it. This was a nice selling point. There's two really nice selling points for this one, and again, I'm sure many other models have this, other brands, other models, whatever. But two things I really appreciated when I was looking into this one. And they're both on this side. So you've got this this easy quick change locking tool right up here. You've got your cap in hand. Got your locking ring. And now I have my 14-inch disc, my cutting wheel. And like I said, it's probably a pretty standard setting or fitting right here. It looks to be an inch, inch and a quarter. I don't know exactly the dimensions, but you just fit it right on that locking bolt right there. Put your wheel back on there, and you just screw your locking cap back in place. And you're supposed to go until you hear a click. I didn't hear a click. There's the click. There you go. So now that's on and it's secure. Not that big of a deal having a tool. Now, there is a tool that comes with this one. It is a little Allen wrench that's just put in one of these holes right here. I'll show you. I can bring you in closer. I'm recording a video. What's that? Oh? I'm almost done. You shouldn't be outside with wet hair, okay? I'll be in just a bit. Let's play some Skippo later, okay? All right. Love you. One of my fans. Just kidding. Well, probably not kidding, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so this Allen wrench comes with the unit, just in this little hole right here. It holds it for you. It fits the two Allen bolts right here on your sled. I don't really know where else it would work. So if you really needed to lock that down, and this little hand lever to loosen it doesn't do the trick, then you can tighten it really well with the Allen wrench. So where I'm going with this is many tools, they'll come with an Allen wrench so that you can take out the blade or take off the grinding wheel. This one doesn't need it. It comes with one, but it doesn't need it for the blade itself. I think that's really cool. But the other selling feature that I thought was really nice, as you're grinding, the wheel will spin, and the direction that it spins is the direction it throws your sparks. So you got all your really hot metals and sparks, and there's this little guide that will take and direct those sparks down at the ground. You get subjects behind the unit that you're throwing hot metal at. Eventually that becomes more flammable, and it becomes a fire hazard. It becomes a hazard to anybody else. If this bench was in the middle of a space like a workroom or a shop, and you're grinding, everybody behind it is getting showered in hot metal sparks and shavings. It's not going to catch all of them, but most of them will get redirected at the ground. So I really like that. It was a nice selling feature. It wasn't why I bought it, but it is a nice one. So now that I've shown you what the tool is, let's see how this works with that large transformer. I'm gonna have to take you outside for this one though, because I have 3 rules for this greenhouse. 1, no fumes, so I'm not gonna do my gold dissolving and stuff that I do in here. Rule number 2, no heat, no excessive amounts of heat. I have a propane heater that heats the space. That's why we're enjoying 72 degrees today, because it's super cold outside. When the sun comes out, this place will get up to around 100 without the heater turning on. I love that. But I don't want anything in here that's going to exceed that, because I do have plants. I've got a chocolate tree and I've got some plumerias, and I'm going to be putting other things in here soon. Some tomato starts and who knows what else. But for me, this space is for the plants. I just enjoy working in here because it's 70 degrees in the middle of the winter. So that's item number 2, no excessive amounts of heat. So my forge won't come in here. And then item number 3, no debris and small particles that would be harmful to me or the plants long term. So no shavings, no sparks, no copper dust, no steel and iron dust. That's all outside. So those are my 3 rules for the greenhouse. So to honor that, let's go outside. Well, we got Watson visiting us. Hey, Watson. Kitty. Hi, boy. Oh, yeah. You're going to get showered with sparks if you go under there. So, one thing, you're going to hear the snow crunching under my feet a lot. Sorry. I'm going to do my best to keep my movements to a minimum. One thing that I'm going to say I wasn't sure about, well, I guess 2 things. So, this only has 2 prongs. As a 2-prong device, that means it's got no ground. Not that that matters a ton, but this isn't a small tool. And I guess the motor, if it needed to be grounded, would have one. But this one is not a grounded wire. It just took me a little bit by surprise. And item number 2, the cord comes out the back, right where the sparks are gonna be flying. So I hope that this is rated, the shielding. I hope the shielding's rated well enough for continuous spark and metal impacts. So I guess someday if I feel that it's a threat, I can shield it myself, just get some housing and pinch it off down below the threat and up to the motor housing. So I don't know, they're just 2 observations, not deal breakers by any means, but I just noticed it, that's all. So we got our big one. Let's get that one on the sled first, because you know that's really why I bought it. I want to make sure that the small ones can be done, but yeah, we'll get there. Now I'm technically already plugged in, so I got to be careful not to accidentally trigger this while my hands are under here. I just ran into a flaw. Ha! Let's turn it this way, and we're going to shear the copper off because these guides are in the way. And actually, to be honest, that's the better approach anyway, to shear the copper off and not go through the steel. I'll use less grinding wheels if I'm doing the smaller copper than the larger steel pieces. So let's go ahead and get this flushed with the blade. And what I'll do is I'll chop both sides, and then I can drive the rest of the copper out with a nail. All right, that's on there. All right, Kat, you're gonna get scared out of your mind. You ready? Well, the blade is smoking a bit, but my first observation, I'm not even all the way through, and you see all of this melted copper. It kind of, I don't want to touch it yet because it's gonna be super, super hot, but that's copper. And you can see a little bit of it kind of dusting around, but there's pieces that have fallen, there's pieces over here. That's crazy. So it gets really hot. Needless to say, anything you grind, this is true about any grinder, you're gonna end up getting really hot friction points. But you can see that the copper is starting to come off. But let's continue through. I wonder how far I'll be able to go before I have to flip the subject over. Let's see. So that's really exciting. Look at all that copper. Okay, so we're gonna set that off the side down here. And the housing is still cold to the touch up here. I don't want to touch around the corner there, but let's go ahead and turn this around. I'm gonna have copper all over the floor here. Okay, I brought you guys in a hand here to show you. There's something about how I set up the guide. This looks like user error on my part, but you can see that that is not flush. I don't blame the saw. In fact, I appreciate the saw's ability to be flexible with how I've got it set up. On this side, it is flush. So something about how I was cutting on this side, it put pressure on the grinding wheel, and that might be where some of that smoke was coming from, is just way too much friction. But it cut. I got them both on the ground right here, 1, 2, and you can see you got all that copper dust, lots of copper dust, and it's all over on the snow back there. But I don't want to touch this for a little bit, but it'll cool down quick enough out here. One thing to note, after chopping up all that copper, I don't know if you can tell, the contrast doesn't seem to be very friendly. But there's a copper dust, just like the dust everywhere else, that is building up on that guide, that spark guide. So all in all, it did what I wanted it to do. The only next step I have is to take a nail and drive those copper wires that are kind of fused together now. I mean, that's pretty crazy. It fused them all together. So. Cool. It could go through the steel housing if I decided to cut it this way across the top, but this is the easiest way to get the copper out anyway. You just cut the ends off and drive them out. For whatever reason, I was thinking I would go through the steel. I'd rather not go through the steel. It makes a lot of fun sparks. Copper won't spark. It's the iron that makes the steel spark. But yeah, no sparks with copper. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, so we're just gonna move on. All right, so you can see I got it all done. I think I started the video like an hour ago. And that included setting up the camera, setting up all of the sawhorses outside. Literally, this didn't take very long at all. And as a result, I'm able to show you how easy it is to use this, how fast it is. Now, I did want to mention that real quick before I show you all the stuff that I got out of this. It's not like a chop saw where you're going through wood. If you've never used a grinder before, you have to understand metal's more dense, the crystalline structure of the metals are more resistant, and chopping through wood, you could chop through and you're done. I don't know if you saw it, but as I would go down, I'd lift it back up, and it would help clear debris, remove pinch points, some, but it's an old trick you'd use with a drill press. Can't remember what they call it, the pecking method, where you're kind of like a bird. You're just pecking. You're just going down and coming back up. I use the same principle here. Maybe it'll stress the blade out less. It'll have less chances of the motor binding, or the pinching of the blade would cause issues. I don't know. It's just a good practice. For me, it's just a good practice. You want to take your time. You want to make sure you aren't stressing out your blade, stressing out your subject, and putting pressure on the motor. beyond what it's built to handle. So for me, I just remember to go slow. Yeah, just ease your way through it. You'll get through it eventually. Copper's pretty soft compared to other metals. Some are really soft, like aluminum, but copper's pretty soft. So going through it the speed I did, I felt it was an appropriate speed for copper. I don't know. There's probably a professional out there who can correct me where I'm wrong, and I welcome that. Please leave comments if you don't like how I did this, but that is my review of the Dewalt 14-inch chop saw grinding wheel, as well as the tool itself. You'll also, as I was showing you how to use this, I was able to take advantage of this quick release on this slide right here and be able to adjust the subject, because it was starting to pinch on the steel housing, and I didn't want to cut through extra metal for no reason. That'll wear out my blade, so I stopped using the saw for a sec, and I wanted to push the subject over, so I was only getting copper. The quick release helped me with that. I really appreciate that. So all in all, I don't have a lot of experience with other tools, but after owning several other grinders and using them, I can tell you, I really like this grinder. I would recommend it to anybody who needs to cut through metals that can fit under and are appropriately confined by the guide. There's safety tips. Please read your instructions. This isn't a paid promotion, but with all tools, read your safety instructions, read the guidelines, understand the tool before you start using it. Let's show you real quick what I got. I'll bring you in, and we can admire the copper together, and we'll close. Well, thanks for watching. I'm just going to close out here while I got you in my hand. So, I guess real quick, that's really cool. It's the copper wire that has kind of become a melted ball of dust. That's weird. That's really weird. But hey, that's what it did. Well, thanks for watching, and post a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't. It all helps the channel, so I really appreciate everything you guys do. I do this channel because it's fun. I do the work because it's fun. I do the channel because I like sharing it with you guys. So, okay, have a good night. We'll see you in the next video.